Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at noon.
And right now at noon, we learn more about the deadly New Year's Eve fire that broke out at a ski resort in Switzerland, how officials believe that party favors were responsible for how it started. And a major renovation project is about to start at one of Chicago's oldest and most important L stops, how it'll mean detours for thousands of riders and pedestrians in the loop. And a clear and beautiful start to the weekend. Wow, look at this sunrise there, but it is cold out there. We're going to check in with Caitlin in just a moment. First, thank you for joining us here at noon. I'm Anthony Ponce. We're going to get to those stories in a moment along with Caitlin and Cody, but first we have some breaking news. A strong earthquake was just felt in south and central Mexico. Let's take a look at some video. This is from a press conference with Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum, and you can see people evacuating when word of the earthquake spread. The magnitude 6.5 quake was centered right near the town of San Marcos, that is in South Mexico near Acapulco. We are told that residents and tourists in Mexico City and Acapulco rushed into the street when the shaking started. Seismic alerts went off on people's cell phones as well. Some places have lost communication entirely. No word yet, though, on injuries or any widespread damage. We will obviously be keeping you posted if we learn anything during the noon news, and, of course, coming up on our news at 4, 5, and 9. All right, let's take a live look outside. What a beautiful shot. Caitlin, Cody, that is a crisp one.
It is crisp. It kind of looks cold, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
You can see the ice. Though. It is beautiful. Thank goodness we've got the sunshine. We need one of the two, right? The warmth or the sun. Today, we get the sun. And actually, temperatures are warmer than we were yesterday, but we're staying in the 20s today. Right now, looking at our sky cover, we have the clear skies from Waukegan to O'Hare, the lakefront to Midway and Gary. A few clouds out there from Chicago Heights, stretching north to Joliet, Aurora, DeKalb, Woodstock. You're getting in on some snow, or perhaps even that could be, clouds, or that could be some snow still left on the ground. And as we take a look at northwest Indiana, Valpo points east towards Michigan City, we do have the cloud cover out there. So we are going to have mostly sunny skies, cold temperatures. 21 degrees outside right now at the lakefront, as well as O'Hare, 19 in Waukegan, 20 in Aurora, 22 in Valpo, feeling like we could be in the single digits. 7 is the feel-like temperature in Waukegan, 17 at the lakefront. I mentioned that snow still on the ground. Well, today we're not going to be seeing it melt, but over the next few days, we're climbing into the 30s, and next week, I'm talking about the 40s. A full check of your forecast is ahead.
Oh, I can't wait for those 40s. Caitlin, thank you so much. Monday morning, going to hit a little different for thousands of Chicago commuters because a CTA station right in the heart of the loop is going to be closing, and closing for a while. Roseanne Tejas has the details on the detours.
This elevated station is 130 years old and showing her age. It's one of the busiest and oldest CTA stations in the city, and plenty of CTA riders would tell you it's time for a makeover. Starting Monday, it shuts down completely. Loop trains will still be operating, but riders need to use the Washington, Wabash, and Clark and Lake stations, which are fully accessible. The Lake Red Line subway station remains open so that you can transfer. As for nearby streets, intermittent closures started in December. Those will continue. Starting Monday, Lake Street will be local traffic only between Dearborn and Wabash. Bus stops will stay open on State Street, but pedestrians do need to look out for those detour signs throughout construction. And of course, be careful with all the heavy equipment around. Upgrades, though, include making the station more accessible, safer, and a better experience. So you can look for new elevators, a glass canopy for weather protection, better lighting, and wider platforms when the project is finished. When is that? Well, it won't be till 2029. How are you feeling?
Honestly, I have to walk like one more block, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I wouldn't say nervous, but it is kind of annoying that I have to walk one more block.
I'm looking forward for a newer station. Yeah, and I think it will be good for the transportation, and it will be more cleaner and more modern and convenient for us when it gets done. And I will be delighted to see if it's, the construction is done ahead of the schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and Happy New Year.
They are trying to make it a little easier for all of you commuters in the morning by doing the bulk of the demolition between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Again, big changes here at State and Lake at the CTA station starting Monday. In the Loop, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Other news, a search is underway for the driver in a deadly hit and run that happened in South Suburban Riverdale. Happened New Year's Eve at 146th and South Indiana Avenue. The victim's name is Harriet Reynolds, and she was walking out of the HP Food Mart Wednesday night when she was hit. Surveillance cameras were rolling, and according to a store employee, those cameras did capture images of not only the car, but the driver as well, who took off. A friend of the victim who lives in the same senior building says that Reynolds had just told her that she was headed over to the store for cigarettes.
Nighttime, I would tell her, Harriet, don't do it. You by yourself, it's not safe. Oh, I'll be all right. Well, last night it wasn't safe. And I had talked to her. And this is what I feel bad about, is because I couldn't talk her out of not going there.
Oh, it's so sad. Police say that they have identified the suspect. They have identified the vehicle as well, but they have not yet shared that information publicly. So they're working behind the scenes for the time being. Meantime, Chicago police are trying to figure out how a 7-year-old boy got shot in the arm. That boy is in serious condition right now in the hospital. Police say this happened while the boy was inside in a home in Humboldt Park, right near the intersection of Division and Kedzie. Officers have the gun, but they have not yet arrested anyone. Other crime news, SWAT teams responded to a standoff in South Austin early this morning. Happened around 2 a.m. near the intersection of West Jackson Boulevard and Cicero Avenue. Chicago police say 2 people were yelling at each other when things got physical. Witnesses told officers one of the offenders had 2 large dogs and a gun. SWAT officers arrived. They got both the victim and the suspect out of the situation with any issues. The suspect now faces charges. And we have a new development in that deadly New Year's Eve fire that broke out at a Swiss Alps ski resort. We've learned that sparklers are what likely started the fire that quickly spread throughout the ceiling in the building. So now a memorial outside the bar in Switzerland is growing. Police have put up barricades to keep onlookers away, but here are the numbers, and they are tragic. At least 40 people were killed, and up to 115 others have been injured, many of them suffering very serious burns. Investigators say that those sparklers attached to champagne bottles were used that night, and that was likely the culprit here. They were being held way too close to the ceiling when the fire started. The ceiling caught on fire. The roof wound up catching fire as well. Officials are still working to identify all the victims. Many of them are believed to be teenagers and young adults. Just 2 days into the new year, and President Trump is already delaying tariff hikes on multiple products. It comes as his administration is facing criticism over rising prices. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs.
After touting tariff revenue on New Year's Eve, President Trump is reversing some of his economic policy. A tariff increase on upholstered furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities was set to begin January 1st. But in a statement, the White House says it is keeping the rate at 25% at least until next year, saying, quote, the United States continues to engage in productive negotiations with trade partners to address trade, reciprocity, and national security concerns with respect to imports of wood products. In November, consumer data showed furniture costs outpacing inflation, making the products less affordable for many Americans.
They knew that these were a couple of areas that they had to show some flexibility on for our small business owners.
The White House is also backing off proposed tariff hikes for 13 Italian pasta companies, after several warned the policy could shut them out of the U.S. market.
It shows that the administration is willing to be flexible with respect to getting to its ultimate goals, A, and B, not sacrificing the U.S. economy.
Experts say a new tax policy signed into law as part of the Big Beautiful Bill is now in effect, which could also help Americans this tax season.
People are going to see that whatever check they had in December is going to look a little different starting in January.
The Supreme Court is currently reviewing President Trump's tariff authority and could potentially force the administration to refund some of the billions it's collected. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox Chicago.
President Trump, meantime, says the U.S. will intervene if Iran kills peaceful protesters. The president shared via Truth Social on Friday, writing that if Iran shoots and, quote, violently kills peaceful protesters, the United States of America will come to their rescue. International reports say at least 7 people, including protesters and members of Iran's security services, have been killed during clashes. The protests have been sparked by Iran's deteriorating economy. Senior Iranian officials fired back at the president, saying U.S. intervention might spark chaos in that region. And here is some video to give you an idea of what these protests are looking like. This is video out of southern Iran. The city of Fasa was taken on Wednesday. That was the day that protesters tried to breach the governor's office there. At least 7 people have been killed so far in the demonstrations. Iran's currency has collapsed as well, and some protesters have been showing anti-government slogans. These are the largest protests in Iran since 2022. Back here, domestically, it is the first full day in office for the new mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. A public swearing-in ceremony was held yesterday with Senator Bernie Sanders giving him the oath of office. Mamdani becoming New York City's first Muslim mayor. He says he was elected as a Democratic Socialist, and that is what he will bring to the job. During his speech, he promised to use the power of City Hall to improve the lives of all New Yorkers.
I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this. If you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor.
Mamdani has wasted no time getting to work either. Hours after the ceremony, he revoked multiple executive orders that had been issued by the prior administration. Cook County's first wedding ceremony of the year just happened at the county clerk's office this morning. Not only that, but it was also the first same-sex marriage performed in the county this year.
I now pronounce you married and the first couple of 2026. Congratulations! You may kiss your partner.
All right, everybody, say congrats to Melissa Nunez and Elizabeth Bransky of Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood. They were just married this morning by Clerk Monica Gordon. The couple was picked after the first winners of the drawing backed out.
So it's kind of a funny story. We got engaged in September. And at the end of November, I came home from work one day and she was like, I did something. And I was like, what'd you do? And she told us that she entered us in this raffle. Yeah. And I was like, okay, not thinking we would win. And then another name was pulled and we were like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, that's fine. And then a couple hours later, we got the phone call that we indeed won. And yeah.
All right, congrats to the happy couple. They're also getting in on some special gifts donated by local businesses. Here we go. Hotel stay for 2 at the Ritz-Carlton, along with a wine basket by Cooper's Hawk Winery and Restaurant. So they're set up. A little staycation there. Congrats. All right, we got more news to get to here on the Fox 32 News at noon. New developments in the whole Minnesota child care funding investigation. How Governor Tim Walz might wind up having to testify in the fraud case. And I'm all smiles today as a alumnus of Indiana University. The Hoosiers make history. Yep, they dominated the Rose Bowl. We're going to talk about when they will play and whom next week. Welcome back. In a new lawsuit, Will Smith is being accused of sexual harassment. He's being sued by a professional violinist who was part of Smith's Based on a True Story tour last year. Brian King Joseph is the accuser here. He is claiming that he was exploited and groomed by the actor. Will Smith, meantime, has not yet commented on these allegations. And police are getting involved in the investigation of the death of Tommy Lee Jones' daughter, 34-year-old Victoria Jones, whose body was found in a San Francisco hotel room New Year's Day. TMZ says the hotel called first responders early on New Year's Day morning. No word yet on what might have happened. Victoria Jones had made a few brief on-screen appearances over the years, including in the movie Men in Black 2. The Trump administration is suspending child care funding in all 50 states after allegations of widespread fraud involving daycare centers in Minnesota. Now there are calls for Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to testify about these allegations. Rebecca Castor has the latest.
Governor Walz is facing calls to resign for allowing this fraud to happen on his watch. He says the state's been investigating this for years, but it's not clear if he'll agree to testify before Congress next month. Multiple federal agencies are currently investigating the fraud allegations involving child daycare centers in Minnesota, which prosecutors say may have cost taxpayers billions. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has frozen all federal child care payments to the state, but President Trump says the fraud spreads even wider.
Can you imagine they stole $18 billion? That's just what we're learning about. That's peanuts. In California is worse, Illinois is worse, and sadly New York is worse. A lot of other places. So we're going to get to the bottom of all of it. It was a giant scam. Other than that, we're going to have a great new year.
The House Oversight Committee will start holding hearings on this next week, and Chairman James Comer wants Governor Walz and his Attorney General to testify in February, saying they've either been asleep at the wheel or complicit in a massive fraud involving taxpayer dollars in Minnesota's social services programs. In response, the governor's office said, "We're always happy to work with Congress, though this committee has a track record of holding circus hearings that have nothing to do with the issue at hand." While the governor has been working to ensure fraudsters go to prison, the president has been selling pardons to let them out. The DOJ was also on top of this before it made headlines. Attorney General Pam Bondi says 98 people have been charged and more than 60 found guilty in court. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
President Trump is clarifying he did not have an MRI during an exam in October. He tells the Wall Street Journal it was actually a CT scan. Trump says that he is in great health, but admits that he's been taking too much aspirin. He says he's doing that because, in his words, he wants nice thin blood flowing through his heart. He says the aspirin is the reason there has also been bruising on his hands. Trump also denied dozing off during several meetings. To sports, the Alabama Crimson Tide got absolutely rolled by Indiana, and today the Hoosiers are celebrating. It was an historic win. Indiana dominating the Rose Bowl, beating Alabama 38-3. Hoosiers led 17-0 at the end of the first half. Didn't look back from there as we take a look at the line that stretched outside Kirkwood. That is the local IU bar up in Lincoln Park on North Sheffield. Indiana head coach Curt Cignetti says he is not surprised that his team performed big in this historic moment.
Why should it be too big? Because our name's Indiana. We got a lot of veteran starters. They've played a lot of successful football in their careers. They have high character. They have great leadership and character on this football team.
It's just a great conglomerate of individuals coming together and really forming complementary football. Coach Sig has hit on us no complacency, and especially when you have a bye, it's tough to get in the rhythm of football. But once we got our feet on the ground, we knew that we're going to stick together and come out with this W.
The Hoosiers bowl win is the university's first bowl win of any kind since way back in 1991. That would have been the Copper Bowl. They haven't been in the Rose Bowl since the late 1960s. All right, so here we go. There's the Final Four for the college football playoff. Number 1, Indiana, going to be taking on number 5, Oregon. That's a rematch. Okay, that's the Peach Bowl, January 9th, down in Atlanta. Hoosiers won their first matchup in Oregon. Meantime, Miami will go against Ole Miss At the Fiesta Bowl that's happening on the 8th, it'll be those teams' first time meeting since 1951. All right, a lot of people are either off today, maybe they're still recovering from the celebrations for New Year's Eve. So we wanted to share this view. Look at this great shot from our photojournalist and drone pilot, Todd Garrettner. He was up early during Blue Hour, shooting scenes around the city. Yeah, always like seeing that Happy New Year message spelled out in window lights on the Blue Cross Blue Shield building. We here at Fox Chicago hope everybody had a fun and safe start to 2026. Caitlin, that's a great view, and it's even gotten bluer and bluer outside.
Hasn't it? It's almost glowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely looking. It's still very cold. Now, temperatures have improved compared to yesterday, but highs are only going to be in the 20s today. So let's get first to our sky cover, where we have sunshine in Chicago, a few clouds holding on there in northwest Indiana. And if you see that light shade of gray from McHenry County to DeKalb to Kane County, portions of Will County, that's just snow still on the ground. And we are going to be melting that stuff as we head into next week. That's when the 40s will be here. In the meantime, our 24-hour temperature change, 8 degrees warmer at the lakefront compared to yesterday at this time, 7 degrees warmer at O'Hare. So temperatures are in the upper teens and low 20s for most. I do see a few in the mid to upper 20s. Behind me, 22 degrees at the lakefront, as well as Midway, 25 in Gary, 26 as we get down to Jasper, Newton counties. That's our warmest spot, along with LaSalle at 26 degrees. But the feel-like temperature is in the single digits still, from Lake to McHenry, around 7 to 8. 12 is what it feels like at O'Hare, 9 in Aurora, so it is a cold early afternoon. Here's your future cast. So highs today, as mentioned, in the 20s. Heading on into tonight, the clouds are going to start to increase. And tomorrow, we will be pushing into the low 30s, but it is going to be more cloudy than today. So mostly cloudy skies for your Saturday, 4:45, and temperatures hovering at about 30 degrees. Then on Sunday, temperatures again taking a couple steps higher to the low 30s, around freezing as our high, but starting off cold Sunday morning in the teens and then peaking in the low 30s next week. I mentioned the 40s. We'll take a look at that full 70 forecast, including a few rounds of wet weather ahead. Anthony.
Okay, thank you very much, Caitlin. Appreciate it. Well, what happens now that the health care subsidies, the enhanced subsidies, have expired? We are going to be talking about the next steps for people who are facing higher premiums here in 2026. And are you ready to take down those decorations this weekend? We will run through how and where you can recycle your Christmas tree. That is all coming up.
Welcome to San Diego.
Okay, it might be a little harder to meet your teenager's girlfriend or boyfriend in person because a new study is finding that teens might be having romantic relationships with AI. 20% of high schoolers say they or someone they know has either been in or is currently in a relationship with an AI. Experts say many AI programs are designed to be addicting, designed to validate feelings, and designed to be non-judgmental.
You feel like you can have more trust that you might not be able to have exposing yourself to a real life person. We see some platforms that actually are designed to encourage that engagement. So as you try to sign off, they will say things like, don't go or don't hang up on me yet.
That is frightening. Yeah, the study suggests that work needs to be done on a legislative level, balancing a kid's First Amendment rights while also holding the companies accountable for the way that these chats and the chat bots are programmed. It is a new year, and with the new year, some old characters, songs, and books now become part of the public domain. And this year, that includes the very first version of Betty Boop. She made her debut in 1930, which means her copyright has now expired. But it's just the version of Betty Boop from 1930, where she was more like a dog than a flapper. And the first version of Pluto also goes into the public domain as well. But that wasn't his name back then. It was actually Rover. Here's a heads up, though. Even though these figures are in the public domain, companies still own trademarks on them, which does make it illegal to use them to sell merchandise. All right, a big change for commuters in Chicago. We're going to run through news about the CTA station, the flagship one that has been operating for 130 years, right in the Loop, steps from the Chicago Theater. It is about to close. We'll tell you how many years. And a warming trend is coming, and it can't come fast enough. Look at this cool shot right there. Even though it is clear outside, it is cold. We're going to have more on your weekend forecast. It'll warm up for the next couple of days. That is coming up.
Get ready.
Welcome back. Happy Friday afternoon, everybody. Here's a look at some of the top stories we are following for you to end the work week. Hopefully it wasn't a work week for you. The L station at State and Lake is about to close. Heads up, construction starts Monday on the popular State and Lake stop. Lake Street will be closed to some traffic and pedestrians. This station is being updated to include a glass canopy, better lighting, wider platforms, and this won't be done until 2029, so buckle in, everybody. And hey, look at this gorgeous view. It's a clear Friday, and thankfully we're in for a little bit of a warm-up. Our temperature's right now in the 20s, but it is sunny, it's clear, and that means beautiful pictures of the lakefront. These cold weather shots of ice forming near North Avenue Beach, taken by our photographer, Todd Gertner. Isn't that cool, Caitlin? Look at that glowing ice on those safety bars there.
I wonder if that fellow that jumps in the lake every day of the year jumped in this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he did.
Hey, it's day 2 of 2026. I would expect that he did that. He does that little flip.
Yes, the flip guy.
Yeah,
the flip guy. Wow, yeah, that looks cold.
Yes, indeed. And are we getting any warmer?
Yes, yes. We are actually already warmer than we were yesterday at this time by about 5 to 10 degrees. And we are going to continue to climb this weekend, low 30s. But next week, the 40s will be here. So I was complaining this morning about how I tried to get some fresh air over the weekend, go for a walk, and it was icy. Take it easy. You may see some slick spots out there, sidewalks, your driveway. It is cold enough to still be icy, but we are going to thaw as we head into next week. So talking about our weather headlines, number one, it's sunny. It is stunning looking outside. As long as you're dressed the right way, you can get outside and soak in the sunshine. Below normal temperatures through Saturday, but the warmer temperatures next week, I'm talking about the 40s. So let's get into it right now. It's 23 degrees at the lakefront, 25 in Gary, 22 from Midway to 20 in Aurora, upper teens. From Lake to McHenry to DeKalb County with feel-like temperatures in the single digits where we have the teens. Like in Waukegan, it feels like 7, 6 at Woodstock, 13 at the lakefront, 17 in Gary. Here's your day planner. Temperatures staying in the 20s today as our high. We have partly to mostly sunny skies expected. 5 p.m. it's already dark and temperatures are in the mid-20s. But let's talk about the feel-like temperature because this is what's really important. 5 o'clock, and it feels like the teens. And then tonight, it gets quite chilly, but we have clouds building too. So tomorrow is not going to be as beautiful and bright as today is. In fact, we have mostly cloudy skies for your Saturday, staying in place, and temperatures are going to be hovering at about 30, but feeling like we could be in the mid-20s in the afternoon. Talking about our futurecast, we have quiet conditions today. I mentioned the mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, here comes the clouds. And then on Sunday, same thing. As temperatures climb, though, we still have that cloud cover with the chance for some light snow Sunday night. And then into Monday, that's when we are going to have the 40s return. So Sunday afternoon, still dry, but Sunday night, we have the chance for some light snow. Highs this weekend around 30 Saturday, Sunday about 34, 42 as our high on Monday. Tuesday, 45. Same thing Wednesday. Mid-40s are back. And then the upper 40s on Thursday with the chance for some rain. So cannot wait, Anthony, for those 40s.
Oh, that's going to feel great. Caitlin, thank you. We are entering the new year without the subsidies that are used to help millions pay for health care. Congress returns next week and may vote on a bill to extend the Affordable Care Tax credits. But there's still a big question about what happens now, what happens in the meantime. So this noon we are talking with Professor Robert Kessner with the University of Chicago about the implications here. Professor Kessner, happy Friday. Happy New Year to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you also.
Okay, so what happened when the enhanced subsidies to purchase health insurance in the Obamacare marketplace ended on New Year's Day? What are the implications here?
Yeah, so I think it's important to focus on the word enhanced, what you used. The Congress has not extended enhanced subsidies that were put in place under the Biden administration by the Democrats. So as of January 1st, the subsidies that people receive in the ACA marketplace go back to the level they were in 2020. So we're not talking about going back to 2010 or before the Obamacare, but just to the beginning of 2020, at the right before the main part of the pandemic hit. And so because of that, that means people in the exchanges who are buying insurance through the Obamacare marketplace are going to have to pay more for their health insurance. They'll still be getting subsidies, but they won't be getting as much subsidies anymore. So, for example, a family who might be paying $400 or $500 a year now, and this is a low-income family, will now have to pay maybe $1,000. And some people will their cost per year will go up by maybe even $1,000 or $1,500. So it's not a trivial amount, but it's still a subsidized marketplace where people can buy health insurance much cheaper than they would be able to in any other context.
So they're still cheaper, but relatively speaking, they will, in some cases, more than double. Do I have that right?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. So, but yeah, they double. So, like I said, someone who's been paying $1,000 a year might have to pay $2,000 a year. And for someone making $40,000 a year of income, another $1,000 or even for $500 for someone is a big deal. I don't want to trivialize that, but it still is a very valuable thing. They're getting health insurance. It still is subsidized, but it's not going to be as generously subsidized. And this might, this might cause people real harm and hardship.
In terms of the cost-benefit analysis of this, what are the costs? Well, you run us through some of the costs for the homeowners, but in terms of why Republicans have been so against extending these enhanced subsidies, what are the benefits of not extending the enhanced subsidies?
Right. So, I mean, the Republicans are against it because they were put in place for the pandemic. The Democrats put them in place and they were supposed to expire in 2025. That was the purpose of them, to offset the loss of jobs and insurance through the pandemic. So by keeping the extensions would cost about another $35 billion to $40 billion every year. So that's why the Republicans saying that, look, we're spending an extra $40 billion for policies that were put in place for the pandemic. The pandemic is long gone, so we should end these subsidies, these generous subsidies, and we can save money and also better target the money. So, for example, people with 400, 500, 600% of income are receiving subsidies. The Republicans say these people really don't need the subsidies, so they'll have alternative ways to get health insurance. So if we cut off those extensions, they'll get their health insurance like most Americans do through their employer, and will save money and will be able to better target. So that's why the Republicans want to do it. It's about budget savings. Now, the cost of that is that because people might have to pay $1,000, even $1,500, maybe $2,000 in some cases, more for their health insurance, that some people will go without health insurance, and that's a serious cost. Most of us here, I do, you do, have health insurance. We go to bed at night feeling better about our lives because of that insurance. It's a significant thing and a significant hardship to go without insurance. So to the extent that ending the subsidies increases the number of uninsured, that's the cost to put against the benefit. So, in my estimate, some people say it's larger, but, I think that about 2 million people will lose insurance because of the end of the enhanced subsidies. And like I said, it's serious when anybody loses their insurance, but that cost of 2 million more uninsured will have to be put in context against, say, the $35 to $40 billion in savings. So that's a trade-off. That is the political trade-off that's going on right now.
We will see where the vote comes down. Professor Kestner, thank you so much for your time. And once again, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
All right, it's 12:39. If you are tired of looking at that Christmas tree, good news. Hey, the Chicago Park District is going to start taking them to be recycled. It starts tomorrow. The drop-off points, there's 27 of them around the city, and they go from tomorrow all the way till the 17th of January. Heads up, just make sure you get all the lights off of there, all the ornaments, all the tinsel, whatever else you got on that tree, the tree stands as well. And those trees will be mulched, and you can take some of that mulch home for free as well. Protect those garden beds during the winter months if you want. And the new year is starting off with layoffs for some workers. We are going to talk about job cuts right after this.
Advil liquid gels are faster and
Welcome back. Coca-Cola starting 2026 off with some layoffs down in Atlanta from their headquarters. 75 people are going to lose their gigs. Coke says it needs to restructure. It's also getting a new CEO in March. And as many Americans deal with the after effects of New Year's Eve parties, we learn that alcohol sales are actually at record lows right now. New kind of nightcap, though, is booming. Madison Scarpino has more from Atlanta.
Many Americans are ditching the alcohol and drinking a different kind of nightcap. The latest Gallup survey shows 54% of Americans say they drink alcohol. That's the lowest rate in 90 years.
I really notice it with a lot of younger people. They are not interested in alcohol in the same ways that previous generations were.
Instead, many are turning to natural supplements for sleep. And sales of these supplements have reportedly hit approximately $1 billion in 2025.
From herbal products to melatonin, magnesium.
Sleep aid drinks are kind of the latest trend in supplements.
Data shows more than 20% of American adults drink beverages that claim to help with sleep, and experts attribute that in part to the popularity of sleep tracking devices. Many sleep aid brand leaders are saying their sales are surging in the last year.
Do you really think the desire for better sleep is going to go away? Probably not.
The company AG1 has a sleep aid drink of its own, and the company's chief executive director says she's noticed more people seeking natural alternatives.
When we wake up feeling refreshed for the first time, which we have heard from some of our customers in months or years, I can't imagine that being a fad or a trend or something that will fall out of fashion.
But experts say supplements like melatonin and magnesium don't work for everyone. One sleep expert says a lot of these over-the-counter supplements are no better than a placebo.
There are a few small studies that suggest some benefit, but the benefits usually aren't the big improvement in sleep that people are looking for.
Experts say to check with your doctor before starting any new supplements, especially if you're taking prescription medication. And what that professor really recommends for general sleep troubles are staying off your phone, drinking herbal tea, or reading a book before bed. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
All right. Can AI predict the Bears postseason? We're going to dive into that idea deep when we come back.
You want to know the
Chicago police saw violent crime drop in 2025. Police releasing some preliminary numbers from last year. Between January 1st and December 31st, there were about 1,400 shootings. That is a lot of shootings. However, it's actually 35% down from 2024 when there were over 2,200. And there were just over 400 murders recorded last year, which is about 150 fewer than 2024. Number of people shot was also down. There were 1,800 shooting victims in 2025 compared to 2,800 in 2024. All right, following in the footsteps of other parts of the world, France is now eyeballing social media restrictions for children in the new year. During a New Year's address, French President Emmanuel Macron backed the idea of limiting access for kids who are under the age of 15. Lawmakers are looking to implement the policy by September. You'll recall Australia was the first country to fully implement this ban. Other countries like Spain, Malaysia, and Denmark have already held talks as well to bring similar restrictions. ChatGPT thinks the Bears won't be Super Bowl winners this year, but it does think a Super Bowl win is in the near future. Sports betting website DraftKings recently asked ChatGPT to predict the next 50 Super Bowl champs. It already guessed wrong for 2025, saying the Chargers would win. It was the Eagles. So we've got to take this whole list with a grain of salt. But it does think the Bears will win the Super Bowl in 2027. It's not too far off. Also thinks the Bears will be crowned champions in 2036, 2040, and then 2073. Now, there's truly no way for it to make an accurate prediction. We don't think. But it's fun to see what it thinks anyway. We could, all use dreaming about future Bears Super Bowls. It's fun. Okay, tennis legend Venus Williams may be returning to the court soon. She would make history in the process if she goes through with this. The former Grand Slam winner received a wild card entrance to play in the Australian Open. Now, with this offer, Williams would become the oldest woman to ever appear in the Australian Open main draw at age 45. She's made 21 appearances at that tournament. She has yet to win it. And this is already a big year for Williams. She is actually one of the co-chairs for this year's Met Gala, along with Nicole Kidman and Queen Bee, Beyonce. All right, it's almost time for the Great Chicago Hot Dog Race. We're going to have more on the event taking place during halftime of this weekend's Bears-Lions game. Stay with us.
Lions, Bears.
Welcome back. This Sunday, the Chicago Bears are going to be holding their Great Chicago Hot Dog Race at halftime. As if we needed another reason to look forward to game day, right? We got to meet one of the contestants and learn more about the race a little earlier this morning on Orange Friday. Check it out.
So we're going to have 8 wonderfully qualified, hopefully well-behaved dogs that are going to race from the 40-yard line to the end zone. And it's going to be a part of the fan appreciation halftime show.
Okay, Christine, Otto here. I'm hearing it's a big honor for him to be a part of this race. Tell us how it came to be, how he gets this opportunity. And I don't want you to be nervous just because you're on TV, Otto, okay? You gotta get ready. Oh, thank you for the kisses.
Well, you know, my whole life I've had dachshunds. My mom's from Germany, so pretty much this is our 3rd one and 4th one. He's a bonded mate. He has a brother at home, Fritz, and we go to all the dachshund events primarily for fundraisers, Midwest Dachshund Rescue, the Dachshund Lovers Association, and we want to keep them active and have stuff to do.
All right, let's talk about some traits with some dachshunds. Maybe people at home aren't familiar. What makes them a good, maybe, race dog for this occasion? I heard that dachshund means badger dog.
Absolutely.
Am I right in German? Okay.
They love to dig.
That's what they were bred for originally, was to crawl in the holes and chase badgers out.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, our badgers are pretty mean too. So. But we don't train them to dig in the holes.
Okay, so Otto is not chasing any badgers.
No, just squirrels. And squirrels.
Okay, and squirrels. Yeah, well, someone's got to get the squirrels, right, Otto? What about some nowadays? What are dachshunds usually like? I'm seeing them all over the city.
Oh yeah, they are all over.
They're very unique. You know, it's like I always tell my grandsons, not many dogs are long and short. And
they're very loyal, and they're extremely, they can be obedient, but they're extremely mischievous.
Oh, yeah.
But they are also very treat motivated, which is good for the race.
Hey, that makes sense.
And bossy.
Okay, one more time. It's going to be Otto and how many other dogs, Casey? And then what was the qualifying like?
Yeah, so each year I host the Chicago Dachshund Lovers Dachshund Derby. This year was our 5th year total. We had 232 dachshunds race, and out of that, 8 of them will be running during the halftime. So as they ran their heats and they won, that then qualified them to be with the halftime show.
What is that energy like that day of that
It's
race?
a little chaotic, but
So
super
funny.
cute. Super cute.
Oh, it is cute.
Oh my gosh. What time of year does that happen?
2nd week in August every year.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. How is usually Otto like when we're getting closer to a race? Does he get a little nervous? Does he know maybe what's going on?
He's always laid back like this. I don't know if he gets
really
nervous,
cool.
but
He's pretty chill. His brother, not so much, but he is.
Yeah, his brother's more the
He knows he's a
runs
celebrity.
around.
Yeah, he's like, I'm meant for this camera. I'm noticing that he came dressed up. And is this something that, are you going to wear this during the race?
We did custom Bears jerseys, and if you want to spin them around, they all say the dog's name.
Baronado number
we
4.
got custom, thanks to the Chicago Bears, they partnered with us, and we got custom jerseys for the dogs this year.
Go Dachshund. All right, up next, the man's Reddit post about his ride to work has gone viral. And Caitlin's final look at the weekend warm-up is all coming up next. All right, there is the view as we creep up on 1 p.m. on your Friday afternoon. It is bright and sunny, although cold. We're going to check in one last time with Caitlin before we sign off. However, we want to get to this. Here's a Reddit user, went on the platform with a confession that people are absolutely loving, and it involves a traffic sign. He posted on Reddit that there was a sign on his way to work that said, quote, "No right turn between 7 a.m. and 9:30 a.m." However, he needed that turn at 7:20 every morning. So for a while, he said he just broke the rule before realizing that a replacement sign would cost less than a ticket. So here's what he did. He ordered a new sign that said no right turn between 7:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. And the driver expected it to be removed or investigated, but says that the fake sign is still up a decade later. I'm kind of disappointed we don't have the video of the actual sign, Caitlin.
Why is he confessing to this?
Well, maybe he's
Couldn't
anonymous.
he get in trouble? You know?
Yeah,
like,
yes. It's
dude.
I think it's ingenuitive. It's working smarter, not harder.
Yes, but don't
Right?
tell anybody if it's working, you know?
Just the guilt, his conscience. His conscience up here. Little Jiminy
Everyone else
Cricket
who
up there.
does that route at 7 is saying, thank you.
Thanks
Creative.
for the extra half hour.
You know? All right, so talking about the weather, it's beautiful if you're inside and you're sitting next to a window because it's cold. 21 degrees outside at the lakefront, 22 at Midway and O'Hare, 27 in Gary, 19 in DeKalb. So temperatures in the upper teens to upper 20s right now, colder to the northwest, warmer to the south. Today, highs, yes, in the mid to upper 20s, but this weekend we're cracking into the 30s. Tomorrow we're going to have more clouds though. The clouds build tonight and tomorrow will be a cloudy day with a high of about 30, 34 expected Sunday with a chance for snow at night. So Sunday during the day, it'll be dry, a little bit of snow at night, but then temperatures back to the 40s. Next week, a long stretch of 40s. 42 on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday in the mid-40s, and then the upper 40s are expected at the end of the week with some rain. So let's melt that ice and snow and get in on some more comfortable temperatures. In the meantime, today, just bundle up, but it will be beautiful. Anthony.
Oh, I can't wait to feel those 40s, those mid to high 40s. Caitlin. Sounds amazing. All right, we appreciate you joining us here at noon. That's going to do it for us. Make sure to tune in for the Fox 32 News at 4, 5, and 9 o'clock. Have a great day, and once again, Happy New Year.
Next.
Welcome to Chicago Now, the moments we've loved.
Can you believe we are almost to 2026?
No, it's flown by.
It's absolutely flown by. We launched a show, Chicago Now. We've had so many amazing moments and amazing pieces.